Now, in addition to the variables that we define ourselves, PHP actually has some special variables that are built into the language, and these are called the superglobals. They're global variables like we're using here, but they have a special naming convention, and they're automatically filled in when the script starts running. So we're going to take a look at one of those this week called the $get superglobal. And so I'm going to go back to Chrome, and I'm going to add question mark first equals mark and last equals Goodman, and hit return. And it doesn't change the output at all, but watch what happens when I go back to PHP and put a breakpoint here. So I'm going to put a breakpoint. It's still listening for connections, and I'm going to hit reload. So I'm stopped at my breakpoint. All these variables are the same, but notice there's a $get variable, which is an array. We'll be talking about arrays next week, but let me go ahead and open this up so you can see what's inside. So there's two values in this array. There's a first value, Mark, and a last value, Goodman, which correspond to the values that I just added to the URL. So I can access these inside of PHP. So let me go ahead and set a new variable called first name equal $get square bracket, and then I'm going to put the quoted string, single quoted string first, and $last name equal $get last. And now I've created two new global variables called first name and last name, whose values will be based on the values that were passed in on the URL. And I can echo, double quotes, hello, first name, space, last name, comma, welcome to PHP, semicolon. And then I'm going to continue execution, go back to Chrome, hit reload, continue execution, go back to Chrome. Hello, Mark Goodman, welcome to PHP. Now, you might be wondering why all these lines are getting jammed together even though they're in separate echo statements. If you look at the page source, you'll see they're all jammed together here. And the reason is because we haven't done anything about creating a new line. So let's go ahead and fix that now. I'm going to add a break tag to the end of this echo statement, and one here as well, and one here as well. So now it's going to have both text and some HTML tags in it. We'll get rid of this breakpoint, hit reload, and now the output comes on 3 separate lines. So the advantage here is if I change the value that's being passed to PHP, the output changes as well. So let's go ahead and create a simple form page that supplies these values. So it's going to call testme.php, and it's going to pass in the first value and the last value. I'm going to go back to week 2, right-click, select New PHP file, and I'm going to call this form.php. And this time, even though I've given it a PHP extension, I don't actually need any PHP at the moment. So I'm just going to delete that and just write some HTML. So here's a doc type line. And then I'm going to start my HTML page. And we'll give it a title. My form page, and then we're going to give it a body, And I'm going to keep the HTML in this class as simple as possible. So all I'm going to do here is create a simple table, and it's going to have 3 rows in it. So first row is going to have 2 cells, and the first cell is going to be first name, colon, and the second cell is going to be an input field. Input type equals text, and I'm going to give it a width as well. So there's an input field, and then I'm going to copy this line, paste it, so now I have 2 lines. Last name is also an input field. So if you have 2 input fields, how does PHP know which is which? Well, you have to give it a name as well. So this name is going to be first. So whatever value gets typed into this text box is going to get passed into the URL with first equal that value. And then this one is going to be named last. So first equal Mark and last equal Goodman. Now we need to add a couple more things to make this work. We need a submit button and we need a form. So I'm going to go ahead and add a form tag. And this form tag is going to tell me what to do when the user submits the form. And you need to give it 2 parts. First you need to give it a method, and this is going to be get. And then you need an action, which is the name of the page to load and to submit the form data to. So this is going to be my testme.php page. So I've created a form, and I'm going to end the form here. And then I'm going to tab everything inside one over. So now I have a form that when you click on a submit button is going to send these values to testme.php using the get method, which means that the values are going to be added to the URL and available to PHP through the $ under get superglobal. So now I also need a button. So what I'm going to do is add one more row with 1 cell this time that spans both columns. And then inside of this field, inside of this row, I'm going to put input type equals submit, and then the value is going to be what text gets put on that button. So submit. So here's our simple form. Let's go ahead and take a look at it and see how it works. I'm going to go back to my PHP page, and instead of testme.php, I'm going to load form.php. So here's my form. It's not very beautiful. I could make it a little fancier by aligning this on this side or by aligning the names, but it'll work for now. I'm going to type in Mark Goodman, and then I'm going to hit the submit button. And you'll see it goes to testme.php, passes in first is Mark and last is Goodman. Those get bound to $ under get in the script, and then is used to create this line here. So that's how one form page can pass values to another PHP page using $ under get.